lectures for July 2025. In this video I'll be covering an market maker sell model from overnight's price action that I had alerts on. So we'll be covering the market maker sell model framework and the entries you could have potentially got. So I welcome you onto the charts. Obviously you can see the alert here, created at 55 past midnight, and we got triggered 6 minutes later. Same alert here. This level is just 2 mini ticks below, but this is the same point of interest I was looking at. So without further ado, we will get into the video. So if we look at yesterday's morning price action, we took out the all-time highs, sold off, and then slowly started climbing back up. Now as we enter this imbalance at Sunday's open, we soup ERL, and then we begin to shoot for the downside. And the reason this is my target is because it's the low hanging fruit objective. So go and study this level on forex.com. Another reason why you'd be taking low hanging objectives is due to the weakness of ES and the strength of NAS. So this was NASDAQ. And this was ES. So as you'll see in the upcoming days of my channel, well, you would have seen it before this video, but you would have seen that on ES we was more bearish. That is why I executed on ES and not NAS. But for this NAS test, we targeted the low hanging fruit objective. So yeah, Sunday open, come up, soup, we then begin to sell off to our level. On the 4-hour time frame, I believe we do have SMT between this level here, or we do not. No, we do not. So this was the only real objective that I was eyeing up, and I'll just show you here. This sell side liquidity pool, this low here, from the slow climb up, this low was the low hanging fruit. We could potentially find a lower objective, for example this low here also, and we can continue to cycle lower until we finally find the filterable level. See how we react to that level. and we bottom tick is lower level. So, oh, we just miss it. Oh no, we make equal. Let's see on CME if we tick it. Okay, and on CME we do. We come into this, algorithmically come down, and then as soon as we get back above, we hardly come back down, and then we bottom tick. So that is a perfect level. So if you was targeting full levels, this would be your priority level here. Obviously on the indices, doesn't look like we tap it much. We make equal, but on ES we had a lower wick. On CME we had a lower wick, so you could have targeted all these lows. So we come into the equal highs within this IRL. We then soup it out. We then get CSD. No S&T, but all good. And then this area here would be the highest M5 confluence, the easiest one to get, the M5 inverse gap. So as long as your stop loss, you could enter wherever you want, CSD, as long as your stop loss was at this high, the low hanging fruit objective was 6R. Hence why I set my alert for the low hanging fruit objective, ERL to IRL. Ultimately, you wouldn't have even need to hold all that. You could have just took your 3R, ran, 2R, ran, but first target is 7R. Second target, 10R. Third target, 12. Last target, the bottom tick, is 14R. So obviously it's not showing that it ticked it, but on CME it did. So yeah, hopefully this gives you even more proof in the teachings I'm providing from ERL to IRL works. If it doesn't make sense, then go and study, but that is all for this alert recap to say. Yeah, I'll leave it there. Actually, we'll do today's buys also. just as a documentation of what we would like to see. So obviously come up, tick all-time highs. So we would mark this as buy side. This is our only buy side now. And I think price, if we want to return back to this high, as you know, we should not move in a straight line. Obviously 9 AM yesterday did, but this is very unusual. We usually move in rubber band cycles like this. If we want to drop lower and we want to return lower, we have to come up first. As you can see, move down, took out all-time highs, move down, come up, return back to ERL. So hopefully, yeah, this is kind of making sense. But today's buy side's been taken from yesterday. This could be high of week. Obviously there is SMT on it, as ES is very far, but I do think the all-time highs will be reached on both. Meaning if there was a short setup, aka there will be. So if I'm anticipating price to move from this ERL to this, well, to a low hanging fruit objective to this sell side liquidity, I would expect the shorts to be more prominent on ES because it's the weaker pair. Do I think that we'll reverse off here? Probably not. I think it'll be a good draw liquidity. But I think we'll probably come deeper into this leg. We definitely could come to the sell side, but we would have to get a bearish USD, which I don't think it would do if we're returning back to all-time highs. I think what is more likely is that we come down to this sell side liquidity from this suit before returning higher. But we've got 2 more 15-minute candle prints before we get that. But what I'm looking at is it's high, it's taken, we short to these levels and return, and then maybe take out all-time highs. So the move for 9:30 for me would be shorts until we reach these levels. Yes, you can buy out of these levels, but the higher probability move is that we short these levels. If you think about the common denominator, price is going to come down to these levels anyways, okay? So if price can do one or two things, it can come down and go back up, or we can come down inverse and then go lower. However, the common denominator is the move lower. So at 9:30, my 9:30 bias would likely be lower into these sell side liquidity objectives than higher. So I would be shorting on ES to these levels, and on ES it probably looks a little bit different. We'll do the same markings for ES. Turn these off so I can mark. Okay, there's nothing on the hourly. Okay, so for me, we could even long straight back up at 9:30, as on the hourly there is no gaps. For hourly there is no gaps. So we're already in it. So I think in the upcoming lecture that will come up before this, so I can talk about it. I'll get the image up. Relating back to this image. Where is the daily bias going? What does 930 need to do to continue the daily bias? If 930 opens here, which is what I was saying on NASDAQ, if 930 opens here, in order to continue the daily / higher time frame bias, which is higher, it must short into the IRL. If 930 opens here, inside the IRL, in order to continue the higher time frame bias / daily, it must long to the ERL here. So on ES, my buy side liquidity and NAS now that I know we have got SMT between the assets and well, technically it would be the same. Obviously, yeah, we could definitely. Did we? Yeah, that was the problem. We came into this. Did we come into that on ES? No. Okay, so ES is way cleaner. Okay. ES is cleaner longs in my opinion, but we'll see. So referring back to the screenshot, 930. If we opened here, forgetting this area here, if we only have these areas, 930 open here, our bias would have to be short at 930 until these targets are met, meaning on 15-minute candles, 930, 9:45, 10 o'clock. If it's still not hit, then yeah. So for the next half an hour, we'd expect shorts into these areas. But on ES, it looks cleaner than NAS. On NAS, I filtered this area. I filled it out. Maybe there's a lower time frame. Okay, so it's not as likely, but we could see this level reverse price. We'll see though. But yeah, I did filter this on NAS. Go and study why I filtered it on NAS. On NAS, I think we can still come lower, but on ES, it did look a bit more clean. But I think we'll just have to see. I think ES looks like it could be moving already to this ERL. Obviously, time isn't aligned yet, so we can't give much of a bias. But if 930 starts drawing lower, we know why. And if 930 instantly pumps higher, we know why also. But yeah, a bit of a stickier one because we do have SMT. On this area between these candles, we could definitely see this level reverse price, but it's not as high time frame as you'd probably want it to be, and it is already an area that I would likely filter out. So the same logic would apply, right? If we've come and we're using this level as just sell side, right? We'll just put it here. We're using this level as sell side and not IRL. If price wants to return back to the sell side, what has it got to do first? Price comes down, has to go back up before we come back down. So we can then back test this area. Doesn't look clean, it's very wicky, but yeah, very, very wicky. But the same logic would apply. If we want to return back to somewhere, we have to find an area price to come up to first. But yeah, it's not great. Maybe we could be just using this inverse. I don't like inverses too much. I mean, they're useful, but I do just like using normal gaps, but same logic would apply, right? Drop down into sell side before we come back down to this low. We must rebalance and then we can drop. But yeah, coming into the AM session, I'd probably be favouring shorts on NAS. Obviously, I've filtered it. My filter, we'll see if the filter works today, but it definitely could long from here, 100%, because on ES, the filter is not there. The filter is still valid for this setup. But we'll just have to see. I mean, rejecting this level again. And then we can also use smaller levels within this. This would be filtered out, so it would have to be at M1 level, and it looks like we bottom ticked it. So we'll just see. So yeah, technically going into the AM session, we are bullish until these highs are met, as we've opened inside of the IRL, meaning we can shoot higher, but on NAS it's not as clean, meaning we could likely see lower shorts on NAS, but it's permissible that we just long because of ES's strength. But if I was going to long, I'd want to take it on NAS. If I was going to short, I would take it on ES. So if at 9:30 I start seeing price reject and sell off towards somewhere, I'd be looking at ES to take it to those levels. We can just put on a forward test. Just put 5 cons on here, just as a forward test. We can put our stop below the low and TP at the high, and we'll just see how that goes. But this is not my 9:30 trade. This is just a pure test to see if we can bottom tick. But at 9:30 I'll be seeing how we react and how we move to order flow, because obviously I do like to get into trades that are in the macro, so I wouldn't just end it straight away at 9:30. They will be within the macro. This is just a pre-market test. If we want to reverse off this level, we should not come to this low, but we'll see how this plays. We've got loads of equal highs. Where would be partialing? Good question. Obviously this is on ES just because it looks cleaner. For me, the filter on NAS saying short still, but if we was take it, that's why I'm taking it on ES, because the filter is valid. Probably just take 2, this prominent high. Take 1. Take 1 here, and the rest go. But yeah, we'll see how this plays out. But yeah, peace.